ask God something, He must do.
Mm-hmm. I like.
Yeah. Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi everyone. How are you doing? This is God Conversations. We're back. Episode 20 and the final episode of 2024. I can't even believe that.
Yeah.
But hey, God is good.
All the time.
We're here.
Yeah.
Alive and well.
Mm-hmm.
Although this morning it was a little bit iffy because someone got
Yeah.
up with the bad headache.
Yeah.
But we're here.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, this is God Conversations. I am your co-host, and I'm here with my amazing co-host.
What's up, everyone?
Peggy.
Hi,
The amazing
guys.
Peggy.
Hi, guys.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
So, today, first, here we're all about authentic conversations, transparent conversations. We want to make sure that you're keeping God at the center of everything that you do.
Yes.
Because honestly, without God, we can't do anything. We can't even exist. You may be existing, but without God,
you're not leaving.
I don't know. You're not leaving, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be thriving, not surviving. I'm big on that one. And so we're about real talk, real life, real people, real stories,
real faith.
What real faith? What we talk about, we live. Like we've lived, we've experienced, we've encountered. So we're not fluffing you. We're not giving you Christianese. We believe that to live this Christian life, live it with common sense. Like a lot of not everything is spiritual. Sometimes it's just common sense that you need. And so, having said that, Peggy, how are you feeling about this conversation tonight?
Do you want the fluff?
No, I don't want no fluff.
Do you want the fluff, or
I don't want no fluff.
Do you want the fluff, or do you want the real?
No, I don't want fluff. I want real.
Ooh, I am tired.
I
am tired.
Listen, we got back from church.
Oh my God.
This girl and my husband were gisting away. And I was just keeping quiet because I had to conserve energy. Because I was thinking about you guys.
Well, don't forget that we had a long day yesterday.
We had a long weekend.
And then we also have today, and I've been out of my house for a long time. So I am tired, but
and our dog
excited.
Is waiting for her.
Yes, Bunchy is waiting for me at home. But I am so excited. I'm happy, right?
Yeah.
To be able to do this with you and with the community we're building. So apart from being tired, which is part of life, I am still excited to be here.
Yeah.
Right? Like one thing we always say is we're all about building a community of believers who continuously stay attuned to what God is saying. Being
God conscious,
yes.
being God centered.
Yes. So I like every time we want to talk about the real faith, real life, real talk, you always add extra to it. So I'm like, can you just stay to our tagline?
I don't know.
So the first thing we always say is real faith, real life, real talk. Well, about doing like being vulnerable. And this year has been so awesome. Has been a walk of that vulnerability, a walk of that authenticity. That's how they pronounce it. A walk of transparency. A walk of challenges, but not giving up in the midst of the challenges, but rather walking through those challenges.
And we have some major ones.
So when you say how am I today? Today's the last episode.
Yeah.
At least we can catch 2 weeks break before
the next year because there's some major news.
Oh my God!
Coming down the pipeline.
But it's been a beautiful run.
I feel like this year we were kind of experimenting.
Yeah, finding
our footing. I think we found it, and so that's why 2025 things are gonna be different.
Yes. Right? So the big announcement. What's the big announcement?
Is that we're going weekly. We're not doing was it
Bi-weekly?
bi-monthly,
No, it was
bi-weekly?
bi-weekly, not monthly. Oh my
No, it
God.
wasn't bi-weekly. Bi-weekly would
It's
be
every other,
twice
yes, that's what
twice
we
a
did.
week.
That's what we've been doing.
We did twice a month.
We've been doing
So
twice a month.
yeah, so
That's
that isn't
four
that
weeks.
bi-monthly then?
No.
Please, I don't know the English.
This is evidence that we're tired, guys.
I don't know
So
the English.
tired. But yeah. So we've been doing
Right.
bi-weekly, and now we're going to move to
by
every week.
Every Sunday at 6.
Yes. And so
Every Sunday at 6. And you will see more of us on social media.
yes.
We weren't so consistent on social media this year because we're both not social media people.
Actually,
but in order to build
we have to
this
become
community, we have to be.
We have to. So
you
we're
will
doing
see
a lot
more
of
us.
yes, background work.
And you might actually also get pop-ups because we may pop up on you during the week and just have you jump on with us during the week. So you never know. They may be late nights, they may be early mornings. It depends.
Yeah.
On whatever God plays in our heart.
So guys, get ready. It's going to be a whole different level for us, as well as moving up, increasing capacity.
Yeah.
Because this year stretched our capacity. It did stress our capacity. Let's talk about the truth. So for everyone who does not know, our episode topic for today is
we're reflecting on 2024
conversations, and just reflecting on 2024, what God has done, how far we've come, our challenges, our wins, and all of that. So it's just us gisting, talking about our experiences, and then we'll all cap it up with closing off, thanking God for everything He has done for us this year, and actually calling on you to join, to take time to reflect on what the journey of 2024, your wins, your challenges, your struggles, and just how you've made it through, so that you're able to learn those strategies, learn those quick guides on how you made it through your challenges, so you can implement such next year. Because that's the whole idea of going through the challenges. You don't want to keep repeating them. So that's what next year is going to be all about. So I'm happy to be having this. I think suddenly I'm awake now. I'm awake now. Oh my God. So you went to Nigeria.
Oh my God.
Let's start there. So guys, we said today we're just going to gist. We're just going to reflect and gist. So you went to Nigeria.
And I honestly, as much as my husband prepared me for,
you actually prepped.
Because he goes often. I don't go often. I went last year, but when I went last year, I went to Abuja. And the hustle and bustle of Lagos is not like Abuja is cool. I mean, I think just calm.
Yeah.
From the airport to, and maybe because my brother-in-law was an ambassador, so he used his connections to get me in and out. This time, oh goodness, can I just say the heat? My lace front, I mean, it lifted. Like I've never experienced that where heat actually melted the oh my Lord, like it melted the is it glue?
Yeah,
it melted as in my thing came off.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm telling, I was like, Hi. And then at some point, like on day 2.
So Pijo, before you go, so you're actually telling everybody that you're actually wearing a wig, because you just put it out there.
Excuse me, real transparent. For those of us who still have our hair. This is our hair. This is on mine.
Transition into our hair.
Yeah. So on day 2, I had to like, when you cycle, so you want to go outside. And you know that within like a minute of you stepping your foot outside, you are drenched. You are just drenched. I would be psyching myself. The thought of going outside, I mean, it's inside the house, but the thought of me going outside, I'm already like, psychologically, I am already drenched. But I enjoyed myself.
That's good.
I did enjoy myself. I mean, my niece got married, and then another person who's like my blood sister got married, and the joy to see I haven't seen my parents since 2018. Because when I went last year, I went to Abuja. They live in Lagos. So I didn't see my parents since 2018. I didn't see my siblings. Well, my Abuja siblings I saw last year. But my Lagos siblings, I hadn't seen them since 2018. and to see the nieces and the nephews, and it was so beautiful. But I was not prepared. I was not prepared. In fact, next time when I go, I'm not going to make my hair here. I will buy my hair and I will go make it over there.
I was just about to tell you, like, when you travel to Nigeria, you usually you don't go there with a hair that's already made. You just put something on so that when you get there, you enjoy.
Nobody prepared me for that.
Oh, you didn't let me know. I would have prepared you so that you enjoy, because the glue in Nigeria is different.
My goodness.
Even the braiding is different. Like I saw, I'm going to call her name Otto, and her hair. When I saw her, I said, this is not hair. She said, you could feel the quality. I'm not saying the quality here. Like when you do, we're actually just about hair. So let's just about it. When you look at the quality of service in Nigeria, it's not a rushed walk. We're not trying, here the way they cut hair is so big. Nigeria, they take their time. And when you pay for quality, you get quality. You know what I'm saying? So maybe next time when you travel, we'll prepare for that. So that you just wear one of those wigs and just go back.
Put it and go and make it there.
Even the quality of their wigs, there's oil on, like, the services, man. Anyways, let's keep it moving. So you went to church. You visited I think one of the churches in Nigeria.
I went to Fountain of Life. And so I have friends. Actually, my niece and her family actually go there, right? So that was the plan. Like, as soon as they knew I was coming, they were like, oh, you're coming to church with us. And that was the day they were having their Owambe praise or Owambe worship Sunday, something like that, where it was, my goodness. So I think they have like 3 levels.
Yeah.
My niece said that since they've been coming to that church, they have never gone up to that, because by the time we got there, we were late.
Wow.
There was no space. Like, there was no children's church. They had children stay there. There was no youth church. So everybody was in the building. They took over the whole space for the children. It was crowd.
Now, would you say?
But I did not enjoy it because, one, we were on the topmost level. And so I think the lag in sound. Yeah, the lag in sound. It was, by the time sound got to us, the music got to us, and you were watching, was what I was seeing on the screen. Yeah, they'd already.
Yeah.
So I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't really. But Auntie Yewande was there, and they were in the front, in the first level, and they were just rocking, and we were upstairs. Oh my God.
So would you say, what's the difference between the way church is done there and the way it's done here?
So this is just one off, okay, and this is just me.
Your
right?
opinion. This is our opinion.
This is my opinion. It was a lot of. I mean, because that day it was it was like Thanksgiving Sunday, right? So it was a lot of. I don't want to. I'm trying to be careful here. It was a lot of dancing, but I didn't really see. I saw a lot of dancing, a lot of sweating. The jumping, the gyrating, and all
activity.
That activity. I saw a lot of the dance, but I wasn't seeing the connection. That if we were really saying our focus is God, I wasn't seeing. I saw more of the outward.
Let's move people. Let's get people to dance.
People. Are you dancing or what? All the gingering, right? All the let me engage. Let me sing songs that because they will raise some songs. Everybody's like, yeah,
that pulls at the heart of people rather than the heart of God.
All those, nobody said they praise now God, and I do not like that song. I'm sorry. So for me, there wasn't. I didn't see a lot of we're connecting with God. All I saw more was the people moving, the people screaming, the people shouting and jumping. At a point, they had to say, Pastor Jimmy had to say, that people on the top floor now that it's your turn to come downstairs and dance, because I guess the people, the way they were dancing and the building was shaking, they didn't want, they didn't want the thing to cave in. But that was just what I saw. And I think that's the trend now, where there's a lot of, you bring these, ministers to come, and it's all about
gingering the people.
And that's why I don't enjoy the experience anymore, because for me it's a lot of noise. It's a lot of noise, right? There's a lot of, we're bringing all these people to show, but at the end of the day, when they leave,
what was the experience?
What's the experience?
Experience,
did they take
really?
that worship experience? Did they take it home, or it's just there?
Yeah,
right?
That makes sense. I think for me, when I think about the church experience in Nigeria versus here, they're two different things.
They kind of, for me, they kind of give off a concert feel.
I'm going a totally different direction. I was talking to someone.
Let me not cut you off, but I think it also depends on who is ministering.
True.
Because a Nathaniel Bassey will never give you a concert feel.
Oh no.
A Dunsi Oyeko will never give you a concert feel. A Victoria Orenze, you will never have a Amini concert feel type.
Yeah.
But then there are some others that come and it's like, what are we doing?
And those it's a lot when and it's not like we're choosing specific people.
No.
Nosa is another person. I was listening to someone, Nosa. Let's just
David Dam.
So there's some of these artists and gospel artists or artists, whichever we call them, ministers. I don't like to call them artists, ministers, that when they come to engage the throne of grace and worship, right? They force you. They actually show they show either your great lack of connection with God, or
they expose you.
Yeah, they expose you because it's not ginger. Yeah. So you cannot say, okay, let me just dance. Yeah. You are forced to reflect, am I actually a child of God and everything? And guys, I know we're just talking, but we're going to bring it back to reflecting on keeping God at the center of everything we do this past week. But for me, it's a different direction altogether. I was talking to someone and I said to the person, hey, look, I feel like the difference between Christianity here and in Nigeria is that, let me start with here in the United States or in very developed countries, is that there are a lot of things, infrastructures that is in place that you're not praying for.
Yeah.
So Christianity is a choice you now deliberately make. In fact, your faith with God and your walk with God is a choice you deliberately make when you come here.
Yeah.
But versus when you're in Nigeria, you have to pray.
Which Nigeria is like that.
Like, God, I beg you. I'm sorry, guys. Help me. Like, we need your help.
Me, God.
You get what I'm saying? So the Christian faith is out of a need for
survival.
We cannot. This is not. I'm from Nigeria, so we're both from Nigeria.
Yeah,
so we're not trashing our country, right?
Of course.
So it's not. We're not going to God as a result of God, I beg you, because you can easily live in this country, and for some people they say, I don't need God. Like, I have water, I have clothes. The system works. So embracing Christianity is something you now have to realize that it is beyond having the basic needs of life, but now having like a divine experience that's nothing else can feel, right? So, but in Nigeria, it's more like it's either I go to the herbalist or I go to church, and it's only so. That's why a lot of this prayer. Sorry, I don't know where we're going here.
I know, and I did hear one, and it was like the person was saying, "Oh, they were praying," and then they said, "Oh, and their bank account will increase, and they're seeing their new bank account in the spirit." And I'm saying, what?
These things that some people actually have these experiences.
I'm saying, what? What are you? I'm saying, like, what are you talking about? What do you mean they're seeing an increase? What if they don't have a job?
Like, no, but I'm telling you, the truth is,
and I guess us living here also is what makes us look at those
very
things
logically.
Like, yes, wait, if you are not working What do you mean increased bank balance?
And that's also the difference that I'm talking about. Christianity in Nigeria versus Christianity here, or Christianity in the third world countries versus Christianity in the very developed countries. Is the fact that because we have a system that works, we begin to
be logical
very logical about a lot of things. Meanwhile, the undeveloped countries, they are very miracle driven, because a lot of things will happen by miracle. What did you just do?
To take that thing, because you kept making noise with it.
Right, it needs to happen by miracle. You get, so I think that's something for me.
Those miracles, though. Remember how we were talking about we can't be praying for something and not looking.
Yes,
right. You can't be trusting God for something, but you're not.
But you're also in a system. Remember that here, like the system is set up that in such a way that you can actually apply for work and somebody will call you. Right. It's.
Let me tell you a story that I heard. Someone was looking for a job.
Mm-hmm.
They had a connection there,
mm-hmm.
and that connection got them the job.
Mm-hmm.
But the condition was, I get 50% of your salary.
Look, imagine that.
If you did that here, you're going to jail. No?
Of course. The person will first sue you and then collect the one that you have, and you will end up in jail. So a lot of these things, when I think about it, it makes me reflect on the fact that the reason why you see a lot of people move to this country from third world countries, and when they come here, they abandon God, is that they've gone from needing complete dependency for God to provide everything in a system that does not work, to now being in a system that works, and they're like, what am I praying for again? That kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So that brings us to reflection in the last year. Mm-hmm. Remember, we're all about keeping God at them, building a community of people who are God-centered. So making that deliberate, intentional effort to put God before everything. Like put him at the center, before, behind.
That God is your default.
Yes, God is our default. Like living in America and being a Christian is difficult, but it's not difficult. You know why? Because you have everything that works for you. So why do you need God? Mm-hmm. Right? It takes someone who understands who God is and what God is and what he does for us to now say intentionally, I need God, and I choose God, because now you have all the structures, but there's still something that is missing. So that brings me to the question for this day. Mm-hmm. One is, what is one situation this year that made you say, God, I beg you? If any.
Was there a situation?
Or an experience?
I don't think it was I think it was an experience. Mm-hmm. Because I had, and it happened way early in the year, where mm-hmm. I began to get so overwhelmed with things. Mm-hmm. So I think I got into this, and I think we've spoken about this before. This firstbornism, and it was so overwhelming to the point where I almost felt like, I think it was you as well, this one, about somebody, you saw someone in a dream, like just somebody that had a load on.
Yeah, vision, yeah.
I felt like I had such a load. And then it got to the point where I was praying one day, and it was like scales just fell down from my eyes, and it was like, you don't have power over anything. Mm-hmm. You don't have the power to decide anything. The more you hold on to, when they bring all these needs, and they bring on, the more you think that you are the reason why you get overwhelmed with things is because you think that you are the source. Mm-hmm. Look, as soon as I heard that, as soon as the Holy Spirit told me that, the reason why you keep getting overwhelmed whenever, in fact, it was so bad that if I see their messages on my phone, I immediately get angry. As in, I get angry before I even read it. Yeah. I get mad. Like, what? And then, but as soon as I saw that, and it was like, I believe I was lying down on my bed, and I heard it. The reason why you get overwhelmed is because you think that you are the source. And until you get that out of your head, that you are not their source, and you need to start to tell them, you need to start to redirect them. Like, God will supply your need. I'm not the one that supplies.
You're not savior.
If God says he will supply it through me, that's a different thing. But I am not the one. I'm not the source. Like I like to say, have you prayed about this thing? Have you prayed about it? Is this what you're supposed to be doing now? Otherwise, you will not. I'm telling you, you will not have savings.
Yeah.
You will be living paycheck to paycheck, and they will be enjoying. And because it then becomes I can always go to her. She will give me.
That's deep. So you just realize that you're not the people's savior.
I am not the source. I am not the El Shaddai.
Yes.
I am not. I am not the Jehovah Jireh. I am not.
Yeah.
If he decides that, and I actually tell someone, before you come to me, just pray that the Lord blesses me. And you know what has happened since then is that God always blesses me in such a way that when they ask, I have more than enough to give. I can give. Amen. And I wasn't getting angry anymore, right? Because now, even my own prayer changed to, Lord, what do I do? Whenever I see the need, what do I do? What is the Holy Spirit? What are we doing?
That's great.
Because you just get drained.
You will. I think for me, one of the things that happened is that I said, God, I beg. I mean, there were a lot of things that said, God, I beg. But the most significant one was, of course, being laid off from my job when they were having that massive tech layoff that people were just moving left, right, and center. And the way that it happened, it was a God come to my rescue moment. Because of course there was hurt, there was anger with my team, and I was like, I can't believe they did this to me. And that God I beg moment, God came through. Like the way he came through, he came with more. At some point I had to turn down interviews that were already scheduled to say, hey, we really want to meet you, not because, but they were already settled interviews that if I had wanted to go for them, I would have gotten the jobs, but got 2 offers because that was just the interviews that I take, and I had to make a decision with the one I had now. So that was one of the God I beg moments. Another God I beg moments was when it comes to your health, there are limitations to them. And like we said, this is a vulnerable where we do real life, real talk, real faith. And I remember I was going through, as women, as we mature, I think you know this, as we mature, our body goes through changes. And sometimes you're like, what's actually going on? I don't understand this body anymore. Like, some things have changed. Apart. Yeah, the patterns or, the moods and everything have changed. And I remember I spoke to you about it. I was going through like serious suicidal thoughts. Yes, and we're going to say that. But I've never been one to say, hey, I'm going to... I don't want to wake up.
I mean,
yes. And guys, this happens so much that I will be on a flight traveling and I'll just say like, you know what? I just wish that something will happen and I don't have to continue. Seriously. And I called her and I said, I had to call her. And I said, PG, I'm having these weird suicidal thoughts in this season.
What?
I had to open up about it. I was like, I'm not sure. It is, even for me, it took some time for me to come out and say it to her because it felt like a thing of shame. I mean, we're worship ministers and everything, telling people, and yet I was dealing with having suicidal thoughts, and not just suicidal thoughts, but bad depression. And I was like, first of all, I don't understand what's going on with me, and then I had to trace it back to certain things that was happening. And I spoke to one of the doctors in our midst, and they said, hey, go to this doctor, talk to her, maybe she'll do this. And we found that it just had to do with my PMSing. And guys, we're being very vulnerable. So if you're a lady, and guess what, that actually taught me how to talk to certain women ladies who will come to me and be like, oh, I had 2 single one. They say, oh, I am going through bad depression. I can't. And I said, have you studied your cycle, your PMS? And they just kept quiet. I said, yes. Study the patterns, because that was
not everything spiritual.
Yeah, honestly. That was how. And when I went to the doctor, she was just laughing. I was telling her all that she was just laughing. I said, you have PMDD. I was like, postmenstrual disorder, something. I said, every now people, as you grow as a woman, some people will, especially if you have PMS and stuff. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but this will probably set someone free that you're maturing as a woman and you're having serious depression, and they'll say, seeing a psychiatrist is good, a therapist is good, but first of all, study the pattern of your body. So I did that. Went to her.
But sometimes we women will not do that because we think of ourselves last.
Yes.
We think of ourselves. Let me make you laugh. There was one day too. I don't know what it was, but my moods were just all over the place. I was just, and then I remember all of a sudden I sit back. Sometimes I just sit and I'm just like, okay, let me catch my breath, and I hear, "Did you eat today?" Like we pack on so many things that, and then when we start manifesting nonsense, we think it's the devil. It's not the devil. Did you, like you asking me to, did you drink water?
Did you drink water?
Even that can be a problem.
That can be a problem.
Did you drink water? Have you eaten today? The kinds of foods that you eat
can even help. Exactly. Mood. Can impact your mood. So it's funny thing is, two people, after I spoke to her, that depression, the impact, the hold they had for her, I think it lifted, because she came back and she was like, I realized that before this I go into major depression. After it I come out and I'm happy. I was like, so study it so that you know how to counter it. Hers was, and then another person called me. I was like, hey, my daughter is going through so. I told her my experience. I told her, okay, this is what I experienced. These are the symptoms. And while I was talking about that, she was like, oh my God, this is the same thing my daughter is experiencing. I said, guess what? Go and talk to the doctor I spoke to. Because all she did was give me a pill that helped regulate my body during that time so that I'm not feeling. And seriously, now I'm not on the drugs she gave me because it's just a short period of time. But I know that things have changed. So depression.
What I also say to people is know your triggers.
Yes, know your patterns.
Right.
Know your triggers.
Triggers certain things for you. Right. Sometimes there's some people who just cannot take they can't take fake. Right. Fake is the trigger. And even even in the body of Christ, there are fakes. Fake. Right. So they can't. I know somebody that's very close to me. She cannot take fake. She
knows how to spot it.
So she knows how to spot, and once she just excuses herself, like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. So that's the thing. Even for me this year was knowing what my triggers were, knowing what pushes me into certain moods that I'm not supposed to be in. Yeah. Right? And how to get out
of it.
And
even how to identify when it starts. So guys, remember we're talking about reflections of 2024, and this is what in our personal lives will come to, our podcast. So one of the things is knowing your patterns. Things that on first of all, for women, understand your body and understand the triggers of what causes different reactions in you. And then another one in life is just knowing your patterns, right? Knowing the patterns of things that happen and how to react to them when you meet them. The third one is, put God at the center.
And sometimes even all this prayerlessness, depression or whatever, sometimes it can be when you haven't prayed. Like I tell people, don't joke with prayer.
True.
Don't start your day without praying, because if you start your day without praying, you are just like a house without a roof. Everything, when it rains, rain come there. When it's sun, it will come there. When there's debris flying over, it will come there.
Absolutely.
So you're like an open target for the enemy.
They're just there
when you don't pray. When you start your day.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention,
just jump in your car and you're going. There's no protection. There's nothing.
And that's what I said. The confidence of I work in a structured system that already works. So the confidence now becomes on what I can do to get where I want to go to. So there's a lot of strategic mapping. There's nothing. We're not saying there's anything wrong with that. But we find out that a lot of people in our system in this country, when they move from Nigeria and they come here,
become self-sufficient.
Exactly. I don't even know why we're talking about this.
Bills, right? As long as I'm able to pay my bills, I'm able to put money. I have money in. I have food in the house. The light works. If the light goes off now and all of us start screaming,
we know that.
What's the electric company?
Pico.
Atlantic Electric.
All of them
are jumping on the thing. Or like if it was Nigeria, you're like,
and the reason we're talking about it is that because of that self-sufficiency, even prayer becomes a chore. Yeah. The only time that I remember to pray is when something is now happened to cause a friction in that self-sufficiency ability,
running to go and
pray. Which is the default state of people that live in Nigeria. A lot of people, not all, because there are people who are actually thriving, but it is a default state of some of us. So prayer is really important. Even though we live in a system that is self-sufficient, prayer is very important. And I forgot to tell you that during this time when all this thing was happening to me, I remember just praying. I was like, God, I don't understand all these suicidal thoughts I'm having, depression, kiniko. And he says, have you looked at this and this? And that was how I knew, because I was the one who now started reaching out to people to say, hey, no, do you know a doctor that has expertise in this area? But it came through prayer and God opening my eyes to see.
Exactly. So, and you can because you have put yourself in this place where prayer is always your first
by default.
Even when you was, and I'm going to use myself as an example again. In November 22, when I got very sick, as sick as I was, it was my being able to have been because I was joining the Hallelujah Challenge.
Yeah.
But I was so soaked, like I had so soaked myself, even before I got sick. It was the week before was Hallelujah Challenge started. So I was joining, right? So my prayer life at that time was really, really strong. And so even at the height of the sickness, when nobody knew what was going on, when they could not diagnose what was going on, the Holy Spirit led me to text Dr. Norma. And from that text was when things started to unravel. Imagine if I wasn't spiritually sensitive.
Wow.
Right? Even see, when you are prayed up, even when all your defenses are supposed to be down, because you are prayed up, you're a person of prayer, you know what to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So reflection, prayer, and it comes from even relationship with God. It's not the one that something will happen. You say, God, help me, miracle, and then He finishes it. You are gone. Yes,
it is a lifeline.
Yes, and if it's a lifestyle,
it should be a lifestyle. It should be a way of life.
Because if it's a lifeline, it means that you always go there. But if it's a lifestyle, it's like it's ongoing. Like it's ongoing. So those are one of the reflections we have. Another one is what are some of your wins this year?
My
wins.
I honestly I would say the podcast. Because
yes,
it was something that we always wanted to do. I mean, I started it during COVID, and it kind of died down because life was lifing.
Yes, life.
And then this year we started talking, and it was like, what we need to go back. We need to restart this thing, and then we just threw everything in, and we said, okay, Lord, wherever this goes, it goes. So I think some of the wins are when we go places and someone comes up and says, oh, I love that episode.
It was weird.
It was so weird because at first I was like, what is she talking about? Even I forgot that she was talking about God conversation. It was after she walked away.
I'm like,
then I said, oh,
we're actually doing this thing.
So, and I don't even remember the topic, but she was so thankful that we had even talked about that because it was something that really resonated with her. She related with, she had all the questions that we answered that day. She said that she had all those questions for years.
Yeah.
And just listening to that conversation was like, wow, okay. So that was a major win this year.
I think for me it's likewise. the podcast. I mean, we did it when we felt like when we didn't feel
we felt like who's gonna listen.
Actually, the wins is the consistency that we maintained, irrespective of viewers listening,
and that's hard.
For me, I never looked at the. Sometimes I'll look at it to know how we're doing, but it had no impact. First of all, because I was more of, okay, this is our obedience season. We're not doing it for anyone. We're just saying, God, we're doing this for you. Gradually, the people who are supposed to touch, it will touch. But first of all, let's build us. So the podcast for me this year was building consistency for me.
Right.
Like doing stuff even when because you know how we sit
down. The groundwork.
Yeah, how we'll sit down and be like, what are we going to talk about? I'll be like, oh God. Like,
but then we started noticing a pattern where even when the podcast episodes where we kind of struggled to, okay, what are we talking about? When we would come on, they were the most fluid conversations that we had.
Yes, and some of you will say, you're supposed to plan ahead. We know. We are still laying background, the foundational work. So we're learning, we're strategizing more next year. We were being very proactive about what God wants us to do. But this year was more about just entering the water. Like just like who was it? Peter that walked on water.
Yeah.
He said, like, Peter,
walk on water,
come. Right. And he was like, are you sure? You don't know what we're walk on the water and come. And we were like, fine, we're just gonna jump into this water, so it was beautiful. It has been beautiful.
It's been a beautiful experience.
Like we went from thinking to now having a series on intimacy with God. And that was such a beautiful one. And I think that's what the pattern we're now going to take going forward, where we have the series and we'll explore different topics within the series. It was so beautiful. And another thing is,
which leads me to say this. Sorry, I had to cut you off. So one of the things we're going to be doing next year is we want to hear your God story.
Yes,
we want to hear your God story. We want to be able to share it. And I do see someone. I see my mentor on here.
Wow,
you will be on here next year, Auntie Pat.
Ooh.
Just FYI.
Yes.
we want to hear your God story. I know that there are people that need to see that, need to hear that, because there's some stories that you need to say it, because there are people that think to say it in a Niger way. My own don't finish. There is nothing that. What's that song? It's On Time God. On Time God by Chandler, and they did it at a Woman Evolve thing. On Time God, you're always doing miracles. Like there's nothing too late. You're never too late.
Okay.
Always on time. So it doesn't matter, old, young. When it's time, that thing that God has put in your heart, when it is time, the ordained time,
it will happen. It will. It must happen.
50s, whether it's in your. I went to a birthday party. The person was turning 65. He started his business. They moved to this country. He was in his 50s. He started a business at 55 in this country.
Wow.
That was his 65th birthday, and that was the 10th anniversary.
Wow.
Of that business, and he started at 55.
Wow. So guys, these are reflections that like God is never late.
He's never late.
He's never late. He's
always on time.
Always on time. And I wanted to say, when you made mention of you being on walking and someone say, hi, I saw you, or thank you for that conversation. You're like, what are you talking about? I remember the first day it happened. I think we had done something in church. Oh, that's bow worship. That was another one, successful one. Bow, right? That's what. Bow, New Jersey.
Bow, New Jersey. Yeah.
Yes, and I remember just walking, and the lady walked up to me. She was like, "Hi, Peggy." Even the way she called me, as if she knew me. I was like, "Hi," and she's like, "Oh, I really enjoy what people are doing." I'm like, "Sorry, what?" She now said, "Oh, God conversations," and it took me a while. I was like, "Oh, really?" She was like, "Yes." And even the way she was approaching me was like she didn't want to come fully to me because she didn't know how I was going to react.
Right.
It was like this small celebrity stuff. And I had to go to her.
Celebrity.
No, it felt like it because you don't know how to approach someone. So I just went to her. I was like, "Hey, keep watching." And when I walked out, I was like, "Oh wow, people are really listening." You get what I'm saying?
You have to. I think I stopped looking at numbers because I also understood that there are people that are going to catch on the replay.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I stopped. That's when I stopped. Plus, I actually also got a word.
Mm-hmm.
I was on a Instagram live, and
I remember that.
And there were things that he spoke, and one of the things he did say was, "Don't look at the numbers. Just do, right? Just do. Just continue to do what you hear me tell you to do." Right?
And also, Minister Hebzibab has said consistency, whether you people feel it or not.
And there were days that we didn't feel it.
Oh my God, we'll just come there.
There were days we were so tired. I was like, listen, when I'm tired, I'm grumpy. If you know, Gladys, when I am tired, I am grumpy. My husband can write a book. When I'm tired, I'm grumpy. So the only thing I can do is I just keep quiet. Today, for example, I was like, I had to conserve my energy.
She did.
They were trying to pull me into conversation.
We did not.
Like, nope, I'm not falling.
So absolutely, yes. Sister Tommy said the consistency, absolutely. Because one thing is to start, one thing is to remain consistent. And I don't think I would have done it. So let me appreciate you, PG, I would have done it without you, It actually showed me that we can achieve a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We can achieve a lot of stuff. The Bible says, one shall chase 1,000, 10,000. I don't think it only talks about numbers. It talks about the strength that we gain from each other. Because I know there are some days when I come and we're like, PG, please, you're going to start this. And you're like,
I know, we're pushing it,
and before you know, we catch the fire. And then sometimes people like, Peggy, can you just lead this? And we share it because we know that today I'm not in the mood, but let's go ahead and do this. And God just comes in and shows.
And I think also the realization that this is a podcast, but this is also to help people find God.
Yes.
Right? Someone that has walked away from God, have them bring them back, like have them rediscover God. Because as they hear people share their stories, as they hear people share their experiences with God, and I'll never forget the episode with Damola and Senna.
Oh my God, it was beautiful.
It was very eye-opening for me because first of all, these two are like my bonus children. They are my friends' kids, and I've seen them grow up from when they were, teenagers, tiny babies, and to hear them speak about their struggles, even though they were pastors' kids. So their struggles are not different from an unbeliever's struggles, but to now see them make decisions based on how they were brought up in the God. I'm not going to say Christian way because that can mean several things, but how they've been brought up in the God way, and because they were brought up in the God way, they were able to make decisions that help them. And even when they made stupid decisions, right, they were able to come back home and be able to talk to their parents.
Yeah.
Now, some of the things that they said, if I tried it, I would not be here now. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If I tried it, if I told my mother, oh, I went to school and I went and got drunk,
but of course we had seasons that some people did that. I don't think I ever got home drunk. I never did that. Oh no, did I? Maybe when I was way younger, maybe not even in my 20s, way younger. Of course, teenage stuff. But of course you're older now and you can do all those kind of things. I also think that one thing that God Conversation has done for both us and for the people, one thing that God has enabled us to do is demystifying that relationship with God, making you know that walking with God or having a relationship with God it's easy. It's simple. Like
there's
there's no Sheila Bahakos. Like it's none of that. It's part of it. You will have that, but just coming to know God first of all is so easy.
You know what?
That you can live day to day with Him.
And COVID, honestly, COVID is what gave me that realization, because I started to see how some men of God just package this thing like, you know what? You can only hear God unless I tell you what God said. That's the only way you can hear God. But it was like during COVID, I remember I kept saying, please know God for yourself. In fact, when I started God conversations, that was one of the first things I used to say. Please know God for yourself. Yeah. Please hear Him for yourself. Please read the Word. Yeah. Please pray. You can hear God for you. Because there were so many things I was seeing. I was like, what is going on?
Making it look as if knowing God, you had to do these 720 steps. And I'm like, oh my God. He says, come to me, all ye
that labor
and are heavy laden, I will give you rest. It has just come. And
have you heard about, I think it was Pity that even said this as he was preaching, that the people that actually have pastors on
speed dial. I know people like that.
And they actually send, like,
they send money.
They claim it is offering.
They send money.
But they're sending money.
Retainership.
Help me pray for this. Help me pray for that.
I know someone who does. Right? I'm not going to yab.
Somebody tried me one time, and they said they were going to Redeemed Camp, and they were going to take my picture, my siblings' picture, and I said, what? Don't take anybody's picture anywhere. I know. I forbid you from doing that. Why? That's like saying that you want to take my picture to Ryoki. For what?
I don't even know where that is.
That's like, I think that's the white garment thing. I don't know. Maybe if anybody can correct me, like a white garment where they take they say they're praying for, and they all this, all these things that sound, I don't want to use the word fetish, but when they sound, if they don't sound right.
Someone said pastor on speed dial. What a crack. Yeah. It's true. I know people. I know someone who says, do you know the number of pastors I have on my phone? When something happens, I just call them, and they're already praying.
But they're not praying without the money. You're sending money to them.
And I'm like, this is that you cannot pray by yourself. He says, when you have them, it's
because there's somebody just said one time that they're closer to God. I'm like, what do you mean they're closer to God? What makes them closer to God? What is it that makes them closer to God?
Time, actually.
What time?
You're not difference that you're not dedicating time to talk to God. Then they're dedicating time to talk to God on your behalf. So.
And when do they tell them? Read Psalm 125 50 times. Read Psalm 30 20 times. Like, are you kidding?
Guys, like, walking with God is easy. And I think
don't get me started on being a Christian in this digital age,
where everybody has facts. Let's keep it moving, Pastor Gladys. I don't even want to talk about that. I think another thing that is a win for us this year, and I'll say for us, is God connections. Yeah. The people He connected us to this year. Yeah. I think for me, the connections, and I'll mention a few. Pastor Yohande has been there. Brother Robert Komaple has, like, and Anike has been one.
Oh wow!
Like the way we've grown from just saying hello, hi in the North Campus to just being there. Also, another win is the worship team. Oh. We took on the full weight of leading the worship team, of just working with our brothers and sisters to take on. The
when you
team.
Are just a part of. So here's my story though is. I've been part of a choir. Again, my mentor is here, Princess Pat Mohi, was my music director all the way from Nigeria. And then when I came to this country, I was in a church for like 10 years. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was supposedly the music director. Okay. I had no idea what I was doing. Then I left that church and I went to my church now, Agape. And it was from Agape that what it means to worship. What is worship? All that started to happen because now there was a void. When I left that for my church, there was a void, there was a hunger, there was a thirst. I knew all of a sudden that when I'm leading worship, there was still an emptiness that was there. I felt like you eat. I feel like when you eat, but you're not full, and you take the plate away.
Yeah.
Right? So
quickly, the rush.
Right. So I started. That was when worship started to evolve for me, and I'm thinking maybe this is around 2014, 20. So that started a new wave of what worship is in the church as a whole, and I'm grateful to God for that, because I was able to just teach people as God was teaching me what worship was. Fast forward to 2023, South Jersey,
September
2023, and PJ, before we even moved, he says, I want you to be passed over the worship team. So I'm going from being a choir member to being a minister in charge of worship for some time, and then now being pastor over worship.
And so not just worship alone, no, you're a pastor.
Right.
But
the worship, there's just been an evolution of what worship is, and it's that joy to be able to share with people, look, this thing is not the song, it's not the music, it's not fast, it's not slow, it's not this, and to just even worship and express myself in a way that it's almost like I have a out of body experience, because sometimes I'll actually forget that there are people with me. Honestly, I forget that there are people in the congregation, because I feel like, okay, I've led you to the door. Now it's your turn. You go in. Okay, I'm going in.
So we'll open the door for you. Step in if you want to step in.
Come in. Follow me.
Yeah.
And I love how somebody, and I think it was Tokumbo, that said that. She said to me one day that when I lead worship, she said, when you lead worship, it's almost like you are having people eavesdrop on what you and God are talking about. And so there's no way the person will just be standing and be like, that conversation people are having, you and God, I want to have it. So they have to follow you. And it wasn't something that happened overnight. It was something that, as I began to discover this God, it was like, what people have to know. I have to tell you about this God. Do you know what he has done for me? Do you know what he can do for you?
And I think that's something that is where we are having the episode. So Pastor Gladys is our worship pastor, and I don't know what I don't know if I'm ministry lead. I don't even know.
Your ministry lead.
I don't know. All I know is that I have the privilege to just administrate. I guess that's what it is, and guide people. But much more than that is calling people higher.
Yeah.
Calling them up. Yes. Calling people up, because I did figure out, remember we spoke about it to say, like yesterday we had our in-person meeting, we talked about your mantle, your calling. As individuals on the worship team, we all have a mantle that we carry. As God says, all of us, the body of Christ is made up of different parts. Right? And in worship team, we're not all heads, we're not all hands. All of us bring our special touch to the worship team, and just having the opportunity to call people higher and being excited about seeing people grow. I know that half of the people in our team, they're not the same people they were January. Certainly. And even myself, learning to not be bad. Managing expectation. That's a major growth for me as an individual, and a major win for me this year. Look at us going. We said we were not going to do more than 1 hour, and we're actually going. Well, so where do we go from here? Because we have so much to talk about, but we need to start rounding up.
We need to say that for those of you that joined after we started, the updates that we have is that we're going weekly from January. This is the last episode of the year.
Yes.
And we really want to thank everyone that has supported us, everyone that has become a member, that has become a subscriber. You can help us grow, share this, tell people about us. I think we need to open a Threads account because we don't have one.
No, that we're going to strategize on how to do that next year.
So we are going weekly. You will hear from us more. There'll be more content. There'll be pop-ups. So officially we're Sunday podcast, but there'll be days, and I do see it where we might just be like, let's jump on an Instagram live and just talk about something that's going on, and so the goal really is to reach more people.
Yeah.
And again, really, thank you. We couldn't have done this without you. We couldn't have gotten to 72 without you. That looks like but compared to what God wants to do,
we couldn't have.
We're just riding the wave. We're just riding the way with with what God is doing, and we're praying to be more, to bring that. We promise to stay authentic. We promise to stay transparent.
No faking it.
Right? To stay vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because that's where the healing is. Right? And she was talking about having suicidal thoughts. There are some people that, I don't want to say, because they say, no.
Yeah, deacon in church and all of those things. Listen, or,
there are people happening in the body of Christ, and it's because we're not talking.
Yeah.
That's why things are, you think that I'm the only one. I'm the only one. No. A case of, I'm so depressed could be, have you eaten?
Are you broke?
Are you broke?
Do you need something? Let's go.
Are you talking? Do you have people that you talk to?
Did somebody break your heart?
Do you have people that you talk to?
Exactly.
That's on my mind.
Are you lonely?
Right? Do you have someone that you talk to? Because sometimes all these things come to that. You may just be lonely. Auntie, go out, take a walk.
Or just come and crash in my house for a few days. You'll be fine. We'll talk about it. We'll gist, and you feel like you're seen. So these are like, next year we're gonna bring a lot, and I think one word that has been hidden since we started is making the gospel simple and easy. And what I mean is it's not by diluting the word. No. We're going to demystify, like in the everyday. Right. Like, God is with you. He wants to walk and work with you. As you're cooking that soup, as you're making that pasta, as you're making lasagna. He wants to make it with you. It's just as simple as that. You don't need to, so we want to make relationship, show you how easy it is to have a relationship with God.
Even if the only thing you get out of this podcast is that God sees you.
And He's in your every
He sees you in your highest season. He sees you in your lowest season. He sees you in the middle of it. God sees you. And because He sees you, right? He sees you, He hears you. Even those cries that you don't want anybody to, those things that you feel like, I don't want anybody to know about them. Listen, talk to God.
Yeah.
There's nothing. And I heard something today. The presence of God is a no judgment zone.
Absolutely.
The presence of God is a no judgment zone. And when you're praying about stuff, right? What did Pete say? You're not informing God.
I was just about to say that.
You're not informing Him of anything.
You're inviting Him.
Because there's nothing that He doesn't know.
You're inviting God. And I put that on my side, and I said, you're not informing God about anything.
God,
He's a no, like, He's the only person you can call a know-it-all. And He will say yes.
He knows.
I collect it to my chest. So guys, as we round off this episode and round off God Conversation podcast for the year, I want you to take some time and reflect on how far God has brought you. What are some things? What are the major wins? What are some challenges? We never talked about it. Well, we talked about challenges, not feeling like doing stuff, and we still had to go ahead and do it, and the lessons we've learned through it. Reflect. Think about how your year has been, is going, because we still have a few more weeks to the end of the year. So there's still a lot of great opportunities for God to turn things around, right? And for you to say, okay, God, I give you praise. But at the end, I think at the foremost of it is give thanks to God for everything He has done. Right? Don't focus so much on the failures, because actually there's no failure. You're actually learning. you learn to improve. So, guys, thank you for joining us on this conversation today.
Yeah. And in January, we're going to be debuting the Share Your God story.
Yes.
Because we want you to write us, or when we put it on the on our page, you can actually put it in the comment section, or you can put in a message. We want to be able to read it to, on the episode. Subsequent episode.
Yeah.
So share your God story. What has God done for you? So that's going to be in January. But we'll start putting it out now, because once January hits, we want to start with that. What has God done? What was the major thing that God did for you in 2024?
Yeah.
That you're taking into 2025. Right? So that's going to be part of the segments that we have.
Yeah.
For you guys next
I will probably
year.
have people record their stories and share.
Yeah, share it.
And just share so we can play it, and it'll be like our pop-ups during the week to say, hey, my God story.
Everybody, trust me, everybody has a God story.
Yeah.
It could be a story of healing. It could be a story of, I know people that they are sworn of God. Do you understand? Like they said they were, life so dealt with them that they were like, which God are you talking about? I don't think God sees. I actually know somebody who years ago I told her God sees, and she just said, listen, she got married.
Right.
She got married 2 weeks ago.
Right.
2 weeks ago, when everybody had written her off.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing a lot next year, and we might be knocking at your door. So get ready. And I pray that you enjoy the rest of
2024.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
we love you.
We love you.
Thank you so much for the support throughout the year. And we will see you on the first episode of 2025.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye.